Altoids survival kit. Can it really save your life, or is it just a gimmick? Well, my question is, can something small enough to fit in your pocket actually provide real value when it comes to the three essentials of survival? Fire, shelter, food, and water. In today's video, I'm breaking down exactly what I pack in my kit and showing how each of my items can make a difference in a survival situation. So if you guys like videos like this, as always, hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alrighty guys, so to get right into it, today I'm going to be showing you the Altoids survival kit that I built. This is a full pocket size kit that gives you fire, first aid, navigation, and pretty much the basic survival tools all in one little metal tin. Nothing fancy. As you guys can see, I got it cram packed pretty full, so I use this hair tie just to kind of keep it closed in. This is just gear that actually works, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and open this little tin up here and see what we start out with. So guys, now that we got the tin opened up here, the first thing that I really want to go over is the aluminum foil here. I've got this piece of aluminum foil in here, and it's a pretty big piece of aluminum foil. It's probably like 16 by 16 square, and I just folded it up. You know, this is the first thing I keep in my lid. It's perfect to go right there. And this is one of the most underrated, in my opinion, one of the most underrated survival items you can use. You can use it, you can take it and build a windshield for your fire. You can also use this for a dry surface for prepping a little tinder bundle. You know, you can make a little container for boiling water. You know, obviously we're not going to do gallons and gallons of water with this, but if needed be, you could turn this into a little bowl and boil you some water with it. Keep in mind, this actually is a reflective surface as well, so if we had to, we could utilize this as, if you're in that situation that you see someone above, you can use it to maybe possibly create that little reflector, right? So the next thing I want to go over is what I keep on top of those. You know, I keep band-aids, and I got 4 band-aids folded up here in an alcohol prep pad. You know, these two little things here, you know, the band-aids and alcohol prep pad, if you cut yourself with a knife, you know, if you're shaving fat wood or you get a blister on your hand, you've got something to clean it, and then you've got something to cover it. You know, it's cheap, lightweight, and in my opinion, it's always a good idea to carry stuff like this. I carry 2 of these alcohol prep pads folded up, just like so. Then we just have 4 regular size band-aids. You can change out, you know, make this a larger band-aid and carry 2 smallers, whatever you decide you want to do for your kit. But I really like these because, as we all know, whenever we're messing with knives and whittling and doing things out in the woods, you cut yourselves a lot. So it's just bound to happen. So now as we dig further into this kit, I want to start right here with this right here. Now this is just some bank line, and what's great for this bank line is it's super strong. It's waterproof cord, works great for building a shelter. You know, if you're trying to get a ridge pole for a shelter, this will be good. Take a couple little pieces and use it to get your main poles up. And it also is good for hanging food, you know, making snare traps, stuff of that nature. And this here is about, I want to say about 12 foot long. What I also utilize with this is the fishing kit that I have built into my kit. If I had to, if my fishing line just wasn't enough, or if it snapped, I could take these little fibers of this bank line and I could break it down into the 3 separate strands that it is. Is this 3-stranded or 2? I believe it's 3-stranded, but I could also utilize that as fishing line as well if I needed to. And if you needed a longer fishing line, you can tie these pieces together and really utilize that for fishing. The next thing I want to go over within my tin here is a mini Bic lighter. Now this Bic lighter covers 2 things. It covers fire and my duct tape. So I have a pretty nice amount of duct tape wrapped around here. Obviously, you can utilize this duct tape for all sorts of things. You can pull off little slivers if you get a cut on your finger to wrap something. If you had to, you could cut your t-shirt, then utilize this duct tape to wrap it around there for a makeshift first aid kit. You know, I think a lot of people, these Bic lighters are absolutely amazing, in my opinion, and a lot of people's amazing. This is the main fire source of the whole kit. It's lightweight, reliable, and it fits perfectly into this tin. as long as you keep it dry. Sometimes you get it wet, it won't want to work, but a lot of the times you can blow on the tip of these if it's cold or if it gets a little water in it, and it will fire. Now, speaking of fire, I also like to keep some matches. I keep some matches, and all I did to keep these together was put some wax on the ends of them. And what I did was I incorporated the little striker for the match on the tin itself. So I'll break these matches apart if I needed one, and I can strike it there, and I'd have another source of fire. I like the idea of having multiple sources of fire because I think we can all agree that fire is very essential in a survival situation, especially if you're in a colder climate. This is also a good little backup just in case your Bic lighter doesn't work and you really don't want to utilize the ferro rod that I actually pack inside of this kit as well. Just a nice little convenient thing to have. And it could really be a lifesaver in my personal opinion. With this here, this ferro rod, and with this Victorinox, I am able to utilize the little flathead part of this blade without using the actual blade, and we are actually able to make spark, as you can see. So I love to have the ferro rod in the kit because I think everyone knows the ferro rod is a really good tool to have within your kit. I also like to keep this little candle in here, which is here. This little candle is a great backup source for tinder, getting your fire going. If you're in a little damper climate, you need just something a little extra to keep that heat on it, just to get it going. This candle is really great for doing so. And also, I think everybody knows about the old straw method with Vaseline in here. So if I had to, I can open the end of this up, put some Vaseline, create almost like a cotton ball effect with tinder, and have that as well. One of the biggest things in the kit that I've absolutely loved, and it's not like big, but it's just got so many different uses compacted into one thing, is the mini Victorinox knife. This mini Victorinox knife gives us a blade. It gives me a knife, a file, small tool for basic camp tasks. It's perfect for shaving tinder, carving little feather sticks, and cutting cord. And with this particular Victorinox, everyone knows it's got a piece of little tweezers in the end here. So if you do end up getting a splinter or something, and you can pull that splinter out, you won't have to worry about infection. And yes, a little tiny baby splinter can get infected. I've seen it happen. And I think we can all agree that splinters are just annoying. Now, whenever it comes to eating, I assume you'd be eating fish or something, but it's always nice to have that little toothpick to clean your teeth out whenever that meat gets wedged up in between it. Now, this little Victorinox, like I said, it has all kinds of different little tools. As this one here has the little flathead tip with the little file on it, and it also has a little blade. This little blade is good for making little feather sticks if you had to, making little tinder. And in my personal opinion, you could probably utilize this little blade for cutting small branches about the size of my index finger, possibly my pinky, to make a shelter. It wouldn't be like the best tool ever to use for shelter building, but you could get it done. Another thing I like about this blade, this Victorinox, is it does come with a pair of scissors. This would be perfect for cutting some of that fishing line, some of that bank line, just different things that you may need to cut. So I really do like this Victorinox tool, and I highly advise you to get you one. I picked this one up for like 17 bucks. So if you guys are ever in that situation where you're out in the woods, you're lost, whatever it may be, we hear about situations like this on the news. You may need a compass. You may need a place to know your north, south, east, west. And this little button compass that I put in here works perfectly for that. Is it a name brand perfect all around compass? No. But if I do hold it steady, it has a little ball in it that shows when it's level. It is in fact pointing north. That way is north. So it is a good compass. I'd highly recommend spending probably a little bit more money than I did on this guy and getting you a really good compass, because navigation is key when you're in a situation and you possibly know, if I travel south, I will hit someone, I'll hit a civilization or something of that nature. I assume you're going to go into the woods knowing kind of the generalized direction of what you went into it. So if not, I would highly advise you to to know what direction you're going before you do travel into such. Another thing I like to keep in my kit is my fishing kit. Within my fishing kit, I have a small baggie of hooks. There's all kinds of hooks. They're all the same size. I'm mainly going for crappie and stuff like that. And then I also have a little piece of popsicle stick that I've wrapped around probably about 10 feet of fishing line. Now, like I said, if this fishing line was to fail on me, or if it just wasn't enough, I could pair it up with the bank line and make this bank line into fishing string if I needed some. And I also like this little weighted bobber. I keep this in there just because sometimes bobbers can make fishing a little easier. You can actually see if something's hitting it, see what's going on there. So I highly suggest having that, just a little fishing kit. Because with what we have here, we can build a snare trap or whatever. But if we have fresh water available or salt water, whatever area you may be in, you can always try to attempt to catch a fish. Last but not least, I carry this little thing, this little baggie I've made. I've put 4 Advil in here. You know, if you're hiking, cutting wood, or dealing with a headache or minor pain, this will keep you going. You know, you pop 2 of these and you take a little break and you're good to go. I think everybody can agree that a migraine, it'll really make you just, your willpower be gone. You just want to lay around. And if you're in a survival situation, well, you know, it's always nice to have that little giddy up and something to take the pain off, whether you cut yourself, you know, break a finger, who knows what, you know. A little bit of Advil may go a long way. So guys, that's my full Altoids survival kit. It's simple, compact, and actually useful. You know, everything in it I believe has a great use. Everything has a purpose, and it all fits in your pocket. As simple as that. You can keep it in your pocket and pretty much take it anywhere with you. It's very small, and that's what I like about it. So let me know what you would add or change. Let me know if you liked what I packed in my kit, and I'll see you in the next one.